Welcome back. I'm Tyler here with my brother Ryan, and today we are breaking down the Green Bay Packers 3-round mock draft. Ryan, if you want to pull up the slides here, I'll orient you a little bit to what you're seeing. So, obviously, the name in bold, that is going to be the Packers pick. Going to get that here in a second. But we wanted to include a couple of teams and their picks before and after, just kind of show who was taken and who was still available at the time the Packers picked in our mock draft. Also to the right, you'll see some other players and the positions that they're at and who they were selected by and when. Just to throw out a couple other names here, especially now too when the Packers now picking 25 had such an amazing, really amazing second half of the season. I don't want to talk too much about the first half of the season, but I think to me it's like you look at where this offense is now, and even too how the defense played. Like I think they're a Super Bowl contender in 2024 if they knock out this free agency and this draft as well, because they have such great young talent, and they have kind of the experience of like trying to go up against the best in the league at the biggest moments. Because they should have beat the Niners, in my opinion. I think in a lot of people's opinions, I think they should have beat the Niners, but fortunately, just couldn't pull it out in the end. I think some of that has to do a little bit. One of the concerns was their secondary going into that Niners game. And I think here you go get Quinyon Mitchell, and we are recording this after the Senior Bowl, but we did the mock draft before the Senior Bowl. And Quinyon Mitchell, I think, was one of the clear standouts. I would say cornerback
he was the best cornerback there by far. Not that that's saying a whole lot, just because of the cornerback talent that was there. But I think he was kind of on that fringe, right? Of is he a first rounder? Is he an early second rounder? And I think he really showed that he is that first round corner, especially at the back end here when you're a team like the Packers, where it's like you're making, I don't want to say marginal improvements to your team, but like you want somebody to come in and like contribute right away. You're not necessarily looking for that star player in the top 10. I think he's going to be a guy who's going to come in. He's going to give you some quality reps right away. He might make a few kind of stupid rookie mistakes. And some of that is just going to kind of be a learning process. But kind of like this year, I think the first half of his rookie season might be questionable. And then hopefully as he gets used to that level of play and that level of competition, his play gets tremendously better. Because I think that is kind of what we saw at the Senior Bowl, right? Like he just got better and better throughout the week as he played against those guys more and more.
Well, and I'll say now too, so many people were hurling a bunch of stuff at Matt LaFleur and his head coaching job as well. He was riding the coattails of Aaron Rodgers. I don't think I'll ever doubt him now, like on his ability to develop a team, just with the absolute turnaround. I mean, we were talking halfway through the season, we were talking about Packers taking a quarterback, and like, okay, Jordan Love era is done. And man, the whole team turned everything around. And what they did too, and now we're talking offensively, but I think defensively though, I think that he can do the same thing. I think the core group of coaches that they have over there can do the same thing. So I think get a guy like Quinyon Mitchell who has all the NFL physical traits of being a starter cornerback here. You get him on the opposite side of Jair Alexander. Yeah, and Eric Stokes also didn't really play too much this year also. So I think if you get him back, I think you can really develop a good secondary room there.
Yeah.
So let's move on now.
I was going to say, I will say a couple other options. I don't know if Chop Robinson is really on the board for them at 25. I do think edge rusher, I could see them making that pick. But to me, I think the more likely route is going to be if they do want to invest in this offensive line that was really good, but they want to go out and get a replacement for David Bakhtiari. Graham Barton, he is a tackle at Duke. I think he will more than likely kick into guard at the NFL level. But with that being said, I think he just has good inside-outside versatility as a tackle and a guard. And then Tyler Guyton was another guy that really impressed at the Senior Bowl, just with his overall athleticism. So let's move on. We do have them addressing that here with the 41st overall pick and Patrick Paul, another guy that impressed at the Senior Bowl. He's a behemoth. He's not quite the athlete of Tyler Guyton. And he did have some mistakes at the Senior Bowl where he just kind of hand placement and footwork just kind of got beat, but also had some really fantastic reps against Laiatu Latu and some of the top edge rushers at the Senior Bowl as well. He's a little bit more of a project, I think, just because he doesn't have the elite athleticism of some of the other guys. But again, just kind of a smooth. I mean, you don't really see this a lot at 6'7", 330, but you can really see that he played basketball, that smoothness in his game. Again, just needs that refinement that you might not get elsewhere.
Yeah, I think this pick also kind of looking for how it's going to break down for the Packers. I think this puts them in a very with their team needs and then like the players that are going to be available. I think they're in a good spot to go secondary and offensive tackle or reverse. If there's a run on secondary with like Nate Wiggins, Kool-Aid, Cooper
Yeah.
DeJean, Terry Arnold, Quinyon Mitchell. There's a run on those guys before the Green Bay Packers first round pick. There's going to be guys probably like Amarius Mims, J.C. Latham, Jordan Morgan, Tyler Guyton. All those guys are going to be there. Then on this pick here, then they can go secondary and or safety, go with Tyler Nubin or TJ Tampa, DJ Dames, I think is another guy.
Yeah.
Adrian Cooper, the linebacker position. If they wanted to maybe add some more depth there, even though I will say, looking at it right now with Rashawn Gary, Devondre Campbell, Quay Walker, Preston Smith, it's not a horrible, I would say, linebacking room. And Lucas Van Ness is actually classified as a left outside linebacker. So
no, he's not.
I'm just reading the chart.
He's like almost 280 pounds. He'd be the biggest linebacker in the NFL.
I'm just reading how our lads is putting it on there. So that hey, don't kill the messenger. All right.
Yeah. Oh, that's crazy. So he's not a linebacker. He's an edge rusher.
But back to my point though. I think then I think they can go with best player available that they have on their board. Because I think there's going to be a run on either position just because there's going to be so many guys available at this time. So they do have two picks in the second round. Let's go on to the next one here as well. This is where we have them addressing the the safety. So I'm going with Kalan Bullock here. So they got their corner go opposite of Jair Alexander. They do, as of right now, Rudy Ford, Darnell Savage, and Jonathan Owens are all free agents. I'm sure they'll bring a couple of those guys back, but probably not all of them. So still having some more of that depth and once again addressing the secondary.
Yeah. And Caleb Bullock's a really versatile guy. He can play multiple positions. He's a good run defender as well, but he's also good in coverage, can match up with tight ends. He's not the like roamer safety that I think like some teams would be able to utilize, but I think he'd be like fine in a cover 2 kind of cover 3 shell system. And I think that's mostly what they run up in Green Bay. So let's move on here to their last 2 picks, actually. So Tyler Davis, the defensive tackle from Clemson, and then Ray Davis, the running back from Kentucky. Start off Tyler Davis, just a good defensive tackle. I think he can come in and help solidify this run defense. He can get after the passer, but I wouldn't say that's his calling card. I'd just say he's kind of a do-good defensive tackle that you want to invest in at this point in the draft, where he doesn't have one kind of like true identifying trait, but again, just going to kind of be good in both facets of the game. So Ray Davis also, Aaron Jones missed a good portion of the season, kind of in and out of the lineup. And I think Ray Davis adds some good running back depth to this team. Very low center of gravity, and like just kind of has that Frank Gore to him, where like he just always seems to be falling forward for like a few extra yards, but also elusive in space, has good burst, and just to me, I think when you look at it, he's just one of the top running backs in this class, like kind of that top of the tier 2 guys, because you have the Blake Corums, the who's the kid from Texas.
Jonathan Brooks, and then you get Trey Benson from Florida State, and then you could throw Braylon Allen in there from Wisconsin, but he's a totally different type of running back. I don't know where he's going to fall.
Yeah, and that for me, I think Ray Davis is just going to be a really solid addition to this offense, where he's just going to provide a good layer of depth. And then I think as Aaron Jones, who's 26 or 27. Kind of continues to go through his career, I think Ray Davis is a guy that can come in and take some meaningful snaps for them. Also.
Yeah, Aaron Jones, outside of David Bakhtiari, is the oldest guy on the Green Bay Packers offense as of right now. So he was drafted in 2017 in the 5th round. So I think I think probably for all you Packers fans out there, if you're seeing all these mock drafts, you've probably seen a running back on every single mock draft, I would say. And it's just because I think there's just a need. AJ Dillon is also a free agent as well. How are they going to want to bring him back? I'm sure they probably will, but then you can still go add a young rookie running back as well. So then you kind of keep that receiving that running back room young. And so let's let's wrap up here. Yeah, let's not Terry Arnold. Sorry, that
Quinyon
is
Mitchell.
Quinyon Mitchell. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I think then too as well. We had them go with Patrick Paul with the 41st pick overall.
Yeah.
So yeah,
to wrap it up,
all
right. Quinyon Mitchell going there in the first round. Patrick Paul in the second. Kalan Bullock also in the second at the safety spot. Then there was Tyler Davis and Ray Davis to close it out.
The Davis brothers.
Yeah. Close it out in the third round. I think, like, all in all, just adding a good layer of depth, I think, to already a really young team. And I think you kind of look at what this offense was able to do in the second half of the season, which is kind of scary to think about. They only had two guys that this was their second second season in this receiver room. The two tight ends were even rookies. And so, like, I think they're only going to get better and more experienced. Jordan Love, this was his first full season as a starter. And, like, we saw the growth that he made there. And I think this team is really going to follow him. And he seems to be a really good leader. So I really like kind of what the Packers offense has going for them. And then I think we saw them even make strides on the defensive side of the ball there in the second half of the season. And so I like what the Packers have going for them. I mean, shoot, they went into Dallas and beat a Dallas team that hadn't lost at home all season. Then they went out to San Francisco and gave them all that they could handle. It probably should have won. And so I think this team is on the right track to be competing for the division title, playoff spots, and potentially even a Super Bowl. I think when we look at what they'll be able to do next year, I think they should definitely be in a lot of Super Bowl conversations. So, yeah. So let's go ahead and wrap this video up here. If you guys have not already, please go ahead and like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below on what you thought of this Packers 3-round mock draft. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Let us know what you would do differently. And other than that, I will see you guys next time.